So, the other day, I think I just got my favorite comment ever. On the 0th edition of this devlog, I showed some preliminary art of the player character, and on that video, I got this comment. I'd look up some pixel art tutorials before the start of development, which is just the best and most unintentionally passive-aggressive way of telling someone that they need to get better at art. Now here's the deal, this is technically older art. The newest version that I have looks more like this. But regardless, that still doesn't look super great. Plus, every time I've tried to animate it in any way, it just doesn't come out right. So, while I should start this first devlog out by doing the preliminary programming, instead, I'm going to try and really nail the initial design of the player character, Doofus, and get a reference sprite that I'm happy with. This is necessary because A, the general size and shape of the sprite will influence the programming, and B, I want to try and get your guys' feedback on the new art that I create. And I know that the longer this video goes on, the more you are going to click away. I see you there, get your hand away from the back button. I do also want to mention that in order to save myself some editing trouble for these videos, I've created this little room format where I have a pre-created space and can just change the position and expression of my little face guy here. This will reduce the amount of time that I have to spend drawing rather than actually making my game, and is in no way inspired by the YouTube channel Overly Sarcastic Productions, whose writing tip videos I have absolutely not been watching. Anyways, let's get down to it. So, here are some sketches and general concepts that I've been drawing for Doofus. Currently, I honestly really like the design. It's got an emphasis on the eyes, the hair, and all the other standout features of the character. Overall, this is the basic shape that I thought I would be applying to most other characters in the game. At least that was until two things. One, as I said, this design was pretty hard to properly pixelate. And two, I quickly realized that I was going to get bored trying to stick to the same humanoid model, and that my imagination would quickly outgrow what this template can work with. And so, I've been briefly playing with the idea of scrapping the generic human look altogether and going for something a little more spicy. The reason for this is because look, I really like Deltarune's character models. They're also unique, fun, and different while not entirely being unhuman, and I want to do that! So, while trying to nail down Doofus' design today, I'm also going to try and look at some more otherworldly designs for him. Now, without further ado, let's get drawing. Well, actually not quite, because as that person suggested, I am going to watch some more videos on pixel art. So, the first thing I did was make the hand-drawn sketches of my ideas for Doofus that I showed earlier. Then, I went into my pixel art software and tried to make a new Doofus sprite completely from scratch. And the result is this. Compared to my latest old Doofus, wow, that is a lot different, while also somehow being very similar. I definitely like the colors on the new one better, as well as the head shape. On the other hand, I almost prefer the shorter statue of the previous character, as well as the larger amount of depth to the eyes. So I'm going to take a little bit to experiment with some adjustments to my new design. Okay, so I ended up doing that for a little longer than I thought. I wound up creating a lot of different Doofuses, and mostly focusing on getting the hair right. But the problem with creating like 100 different Doofuses all in a row is that you begin to forget what you were actually looking to accomplish. So, in order to refresh my eyes, I decided to hold off from trying to figure out which Doofus I like best, and instead sent the sheet with various options for different Doofus design options to my friends to see what they thought. And while waiting for their responses, I decided to attempt designing a more out there type of Doofus like I described earlier. Alright, so after a little while, I've got something. I started out with some sketches where I tried to ideate what Doofus could look like if he was supernatural. Then, I went back to my pixel art software and started from scratch again with those ideas in mind. And what came out was this. Right now, it's mostly just a palette swap from the other sprites, which I find funny since that's twice now that I've tried to start from scratch and come up with a pretty similar result. Still, I already like this less humanly ground look, and I'm going to try experimenting with changing the design in ways that will make him look more out there without just changing his coloring. However, that is going to be all the character designing that I'm doing today. I want to take a break and get some feedback on the ideas that I've got now so I can take a better direction when I actually resume. And this is where I need your guys' help. I want to hear your feedback on what to do for the character's design of Doofus. First, I'd like you to tell me whether you like the natural human style or the more supernatural feel for Doofus, which you can do specifically in a community poll that will be going up around the same time as this video. In addition to that, if you can, I'd like you to go through the same sheet that I sent to my friends, regardless of whether you prefer the human-like style or not. Tell me which eye style you prefer, which body shape seems better, which hairstyle feels right, and also which hair silhouette seems the most recognizable and remarkable, since that is also something useful in character design. You can put all your answers down in the comments of this video, as well as any reasoning that you have for your preferences. Alright, but it's finally time to get to some programming. How much time do we have left? What? Well, unfortunately, it seems like creating 40 different doofusi with vaguely different hairstyles actually chews up a fair amount of time. So I'm not actually going to have much time left to start working on this. Regardless, I can still get some of the basics done. So I'll start by creating my player and wall objects, then create a test room, then move on to making some important variables, then creating the basic movement code, then creating collisions and speed limits, and with any luck, this should work. Well, at least I got the room to open. Let me just poke around. Oh my god, I literally forgot to update the X and Y positions after all this. Let me just change that real quick, and there we go! My awful doofus drawing moves. But right now, he keeps moving even after I stop holding the keys, and doesn't have gravity, and also jumps in the wrong direction. So let me just go real quick, and he's going through the floor. Alright, cool, now the jump's working, but pressing left and right crashes the game. Okay, but now that should be fixed, and jumping is weird again. Welcome to programming, everybody. Alright, but after what was actually a much shorter time than I'm making it out to be, I had some fairly good looking mechanics for a platformer. Trust me when I say that this is far from where it needs to be, but it's actually a really great start. And where I'm going to have to be leaving things for this episode. Yeah, it's sad, but that's about all the time I have right now. Regardless, the progress that I've made has only made me more and more excited for things to come. I'm hoping that you guys are just as enthusiastic as I am to see where things go next. Now without further ado, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. In like 2 weeks, because dang, this takes a lot of time to make.